Thanks for joining us tonight. What is everyone up to? I am ready to educate. Let's just say we're going to educate tonight, and we're going to talk about things that we don't know about. We're going to we're going to we're going to do a lot of things tonight. Hopefully it's not boring. Hopefully I make it fun. Hopefully it's understandable. This topic is very close and dear to my heart. I feel like it's very important, and I believe it's the key to unlocking the paranormal. Like, how do we understand it? How does it make sense when it comes to applying science to it and understanding it through the walls? This is a big deal. Type 1 in the chat if you're interested. If not, then we're in for it tonight. We got a Spirit Stalker in already. Greetings. Thank you for joining.
Got Darren and Derek.
Darren, what are you doing? So what is PKE?
I shared and then got banned from posting for 1 hour, Derek said.
You've been sharing too much, dude. Facebook got you. Facebook got you. But PKE, if you're wondering, it stands for Psychokinetic Energy. And we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about what it is and why it is and where it is and all that stuff. But we'll wait. We'll just kind of chit chat for a second, wait for some people to get in here before we get into it. How was your day, Missy? Good, bad, in between?
Today wasn't bad. Derek had to go to the doctor today. So that news wasn't real good, but
is this something we can't talk about?
no, his thumb has been hurting like in between here. And he went to the doctor today, and she's like, well, you either ruptured your tendon or you tore it. So she's sending him to see a hand surgeon.
That sucks.
Yeah.
Is it from like the forklift or doing something repetitive?
He ran into something with his hand. They call it lifting baby syndrome, is what they call it. Because when you hold a baby, you tend to, put all your pressure right here. So
I gotcha. What's up, Heath? What's going on, buddy? Yeah, that sucks. I do not want to hear this crap.
sorry, so he's getting hand jobs. Yeah, that's it.
Wow. Now we know why he's here.
Yeah. Yeah. But we're hoping he just pulled it and didn't rupture it. So because one requires surgery and one doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah, I am hoping that it is just not that bad. You're all right, Heath. No problem, man.
And then I went to the dentist on Tuesday. I cleaned my teeth, and the dentist comes in to check my teeth, to check my, everything out. And he's like, so, you need a crown in that front tooth. And I'm like, yeah, I need like $10,000 worth of crowns.
Did the skin graft take?
Yeah, that's good. But he's like, you need a crown in that front tooth, and when you get that filling and that front crown, your smile will be more beautiful than it already is. And I looked around, and the assistant is standing behind me, and she just happens to take a drink of water as he says this. And I look at him, and I'm like, "You're blind, aren't you?" And it's like everything she had to not spit her water across the room.
I bet you have, Derek. Yep. Arden, you walked into it. You walked right into it like it was a spider web, and now it's on your face. All right.
So how was your week?
Pretty normal. Nothing
Good.
crazy to report. Doing pretty good. A little bit of drama happening elsewhere on the property, but we won't get into that. Everything's good on my front. We got another freaking 3-day tournament to go to in Ohio up north. Gotta get up at 4 a.m. and go to that tomorrow. And come back Sunday. Hopefully the rain stays away.
Right.
Other than
No,
that,
Josh, he will have a bad hand on the good arm.
bad arm, good hand, good arm, bad hand.
Bad hand. Right.
Oh God. All right. I think we got some people here. We're going to get into this. So here's the thing. In my belief, there is a unified idea, and it stems from our conscious minds. Okay. Now, I'm going to try to zoom through this and make it simple to understand. So, either you're in one of two camps. You're in camp A, which is consciousness is emergent from the brain, which means the brain causes it to happen. If that's true, then we really don't have life after death, because if our brain dies, our consciousness dies. And we don't have souls or spirits, because our consciousness is tied to our...
Justin, you are like cutting in and out.
That's awesome. Let me see if I can fix that. Give me 1 second. Noise gate. Check, check, check. 1, 2, 3, 4. Check, check, check. How do I sound now? Any better? Any better? Check. 1, 2, check. Let me know if that helped. So, camp B is that consciousness exists outside of the body. It doesn't have anything to do with any body part, not the brain, not anything else, and it exists somewhere else. Okay, you can say it's in the afterlife, in another dimension, in heaven, whatever you want to call it. That's not important for this conversation. What is important is that you understand both camps. So in order to have an afterlife, a spirit, anything like that, you have to somehow fit yourself in camp B, where consciousness exists outside the body. So if that's true, then there has to be some type of energy field associated with our consciousness. And we're calling that the psychokinetic energy field. So why do we call it a field? Well, back in the day, before we had electrodynamics, before we knew anything about that in physics, we thought, like, any kind of energy or action from a distance was like telekinetic. What binds the moon to its orbit? How does the sun reach the earth from a distance and shed light on us? And we can't see it in between, but we can see it hitting our planet and hitting us. But we can't really see it in between. We need something there to reflect it. Where is it in between? How do radios work? How do you transmit from one spot and receive the transmission from the other? How does that work? Well, before we knew anything about it, we thought we were doing things remotely, from a distance. And it wasn't until James Maxwell came along, very long time ago. Forget when. It might have been the 1700s, I think. Very long time ago. And he started explaining how this phenomena exists in a field, and it propagates through the field. And a good analogy is a fish swims through the water, and it's able to do that because the water, it's like a field. It's like a 3D field that it can move around in and propagate through. And that is how light propagates through space. There is a photon field, an electromagnetic field. Sorry. And that's how light travels. And when you look at other things, like gravity and so on and so forth, there's these fields. Okay. So this gives rise to a new understanding of physics. So when the paranormal, parapsychology became a thing, a lot of scientists were poo-pooing on it, saying it violates laws of physics. Like the inverse square law, which in simple terms means the further you get away from the energy source, the less energy it has. But as we see, that is not always the case in the paranormal. It can be remote, it can be far away, but still be very strong. And there's no real physical energy mechanism for that. And there's also a debate whether or not PK violates the second law of thermodynamics, which means anything that's hot generally goes towards being cooler. And the more time goes on, the less organized the universe is. And it's really deals with the probability of chaos and how things begin with ordered systems and end with less ordered systems. But it also says that energy cannot be created nor destroyed in the second law of thermodynamics. And a lot of people that look at that law tend to say that's why that proves that there's an afterlife. Well, yes and no. So if you really want to define what the afterlife is, your consciousness, what makes you you without your body, okay, exist without your body. How is that possible? That is the question, leading us back to the first thing I mentioned, which is your consciousness has to exist outside of your body. This is called dualism. If you look up dualism, that's basically what that means. So your consciousness is not dependent on your body. Now, there are so many different branches that you can go off into in this show. Now, Missy, if someone has a question or an interesting comment, please jump in. Okay? Because I'm not looking at it. I'm going into Justin mode now, so please help me out there.
Justin mode is fine.
Justin mode engaged. All right, so where does that leave us now? So we have to come up with a better model to explain all these things. So when Maxwell was looking at atoms, he was looking at action from a distance effects, but he was looking at different fields, like the electromagnetic field. Okay, so if you get positive charges next to other positive charges, they repel each other. Most people know that in the chat. You know, when you go through elementary school science, you learn that. And the opposite of that is positive charges and negative charges attract. Okay, so it's like a, attraction effect. If you move electrons through a wire, you can create what's called an electromotor effect. It's almost like a force. It's almost like a dual force, and we're not going to get into that quite so much unless you want me to. Okay, but it's a force, but it's not, because in order for something to be a force, it has to be a force from every perspective. Okay, so if you're looking, an example would be if you're on a train car, if you're outside on the ground looking at a person in a train car, they're moving and you're standing still. Well, if you're in the train car and you're looking outside, it looks like they're moving and you're standing still. So it's like a relative thing. Okay, so if the electrons are moving through the wire, if you're inside the wire, it looks like you're standing still and everything else outside is moving, and vice versa. So that's what's weird about physics. Okay, Einstein was revolutionary on how he explained these things. So forces get really weird without understanding tensors. We're not getting into tensors today, but part of my model that I'm working on involves tensors, and we're going to kind of talk about it a little bit, because a psychokinetic energy field deals with stresses. Okay, so, and in order to understand how something can move on its own, it's simple to kind of relate it to positive and negative charge, or positive and positive charge. Okay, if you've ever been at a location or at your home and you feel the spider web tinglies, well, that could be static, some type of static effect. What happens is electrons are either stripped off your body and they're trying to regain their electric charge, because everything tries to balance itself all the time, because we're all mostly electrically neutral. Okay, so if you rub your feet across a carpet, the carpet's an insulator, and you lose electrons that way, and then when you touch the doorknob, it zaps you because you're trying to get those electrons back, right? Everybody kind of understands that, and it happens during thunderstorms when you get struck by lightning, right? So if you take two positive ends of a magnet, they repel each other. So if the psychokinetic energy field somehow manipulated charge, that's the key to understanding how things can move on their own. If they polarize objects and change the electric charge momentarily, they can repel each other when in fact they were neutral before. So when it comes back to the spiderwebs feelings, when I believe that when you're getting the tingly spiderweb feelings, that's the manipulation of the charge, the polarization as it's happening. And if it gets strong enough, weird things can happen. Things can move on its own and a whole bunch of other things. Okay. The extreme end of it is your house bursts into flames. Now that can involve tensors and the psychokinetic energy field. And when I hopefully 10, 20, 30, 40, maybe 40 years from now, I get a handle on the math of this, I can explain it better. But it's all using science that's already in place. But when you look at the correlations with stresses in the environment and this energy field we're talking about, weird things happen. Okay, so things move on their own. The polarized stuff happens. Water can manifest. All that is like a spontaneous condensation moment, to where the moisture in the environment condenses spontaneously and rapidly, and that can be explained through psychokinetic tensors. My theory, I feel like, is one of the best ones that I've seen, and I haven't seen it in the literature. Maybe it is out there, I just haven't seen it. And if someone's watching this live or in post, please let me know if this is already in place so I can already plug myself into that research. But I feel like this model that I'm trying to explain to you guys is potentially going to unlock the key to understanding the paranormal. And the reason why I feel like we need to do this is we need to start running tests to see if it's true. We need to, like the first show last week we talked about how to use a scientific method to test things. Well, if we come up with these ideas, we find out how we can experiment with them to find supporting evidence of them. That's what we need to do. How's the chat doing? What's up, Eddie? I see you.
All right. No questions. Well, Derek said I move shit around me. It's cool when it happens.
So when I go over there, I kind of bring up the whole PK element all the time. Mm-hmm. So people are stressed out in the house a lot, right, Missy?
Yeah.
Okay. What does that do? What do you feel like it does to the energy in the house? What do you feel? Just without overthinking it, what does it feel like?
It electrifies it.
You feel you feel like an electricity feeling. Okay. Do you feel like you yourself are stressed?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you yourself is tense?
Oh yeah.
Do you feel like you're a spring under tension that could snap?
Yeah.
Could spring out uncontrollably. So in my model, these tensors can build up in the environment. Okay. And they either build up over a cumulative, progression, or they can or something can trigger the tension of the springs, that we're going to call them springs, and bring about their the explosion of the stored up energy, quicker than over time. These things I need to find how to measure, how to predict. There needs to be a way to quantize the units of stress, and that's where I'm missing it in the model. Once I find out these things, the model is going to come, start unfolding and making sense a lot more quickly. But what we're seeing, and Missy, you can please let me know what you guys think. I feel like this psychokinetic changes can not only alter the charges in the environment, but can do way more than that. But let's just talk about charge right now. You said you feel electricity.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, because when things move, when Derek's beer can moved, his hand or his body was changing the charges in the beer can. They were neutral, but then the positive electrons or the positive neutrons well, let's just say the negative electrons in his hands, maybe that got built up, and then the electrons in the cans got imbalanced, and it built up. So you have more of a negative charge on both ends. So you can repel something. Now, maybe the tensors and the psychokinetic energy fields within the environment can have a motor effect on the beer can, and it can start moving. But as you see the video, as I was watching the video, it was kind of twisting and jostling around like there was some type of, stress or tension that it was enveloped in. And it's fascinating to me. Has anybody tried the Grimace milkshakes from McDonald's? My wife just brought me one, and I'm probably going to shit my pants.
Is it good?
I don't know. Oh, it's blueberry, dude. It's blueberry. Wow. I don't know what to think about that yet. I have to let that simmer. So, that's what I want to do. That's one of my main goals, is to figure these things out. Okay? So, some of my research I look back on, McDougall in the turn of the 20th century did experiments where he weighed folks that were dying, and and as they were dying, some of them lost weight, very small amount, like 21 grams, somewhere in there. So if you add up all the electrons in a normal sized human body, that equals out to about 21 grams, give or take. Now, if it was Missy, it would be less. If it was me, it would be more. So the bigger you are, the more electrons you have. So there seems to be some kind of discharge, if that's true, if you're actually losing weight. Now, a lot of people scrutinize his work, but he was using us, maybe if you are losing electrons, there's some type of discharge there. And my theory focuses on the charges of electrons and neutrons. So, battery drain. Take a look at that. All it's doing is creating electricity by moving electrons around, like in a lithium battery. That's all it's doing. It's causing, electrons to flow. So if you pull the electrons out of the system, it's going to die. But it's using the electrons to do things, presumably. So this model has a lot to do with charge. Do it. Shit your pants. Okay. I'm doing it for you, bud. What do you think? What are you thinking, Missy?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I'm just sitting there.
What's up,
Reading
Ken?
comments.
Reading the comments.
Doing
So,
my job.
anybody watch Ghostbusters, right? The PKE meter, that's what that's measuring. And that's really the only thing I can find on the internet about PKE. Nothing but ghost hunter stuff. Or Ghostbuster stuff, sorry. I'm like, really? I can't find anything. You can find stuff about micro PK experiments. You can find stuff about telekinesis, studies that the government's done. You can find stuff about the Stargate program, to where the CIA was studying remote viewing and stuff like that. So it's very, very interesting. So not only can the consciousness mess with the PK energy field, it can project its perception at distances. So let's just hypothetically, you can go outside your body and travel around perceptually. Astral projection, right? Remote viewing, whatever you want to call. So let's just say you die. You don't have a body, so you can kind of freely move around. And I'm assuming, I haven't been dead, so I don't know, but I'm assuming that there's no limit to how fast you can move around or the distance you can move around, right? So if you can lock into that ability, that's what you're essentially doing. You are untethering yourself from your body and going distant. So, but then you have other abilities too. You have clairaudience, clairvoyance, clairsentience, all those ones. And you kind of want to go down the ladder and break down each one of those.
Right.
One of the most fascinating things for me is voice phenomena. Like, how in the hell does that work?
Right.
What's Heath laughing at? Release those electrons.
Keith is laughing at Josh telling you to shit your pants.
Okay. I don't want to. And I don't want to have to get up in the middle of this 2-hour show, go to the bathroom. But it's probably going to happen. Well, the Ghostbusters seem to think that they had the meter to do it. That's why people use EMF meters. There's some kind of correlation with the electromagnetic field and the psychokinetic energy field. What is that correlation? We don't know. But light travels through the electromagnetic field. Does these paranormal forces at work travel through the same field, or are they just bumping into the electromagnetic field, causing it to vibrate, and that's what you're measuring? We don't know. We do not know. But if
Do you
electrons
want
are...
to turn the volume on your phone down?
Is that my phone? I thought I did.
Yes, that is your phone.
I've done it like 4 or 5 times now. Let me turn
Not my phone.
Let me turn all the volumes down. My notifications was still up. Oops. Should be good now. So if electrons are moving and being manipulated, then the electromagnetic field is where stuff's happening. But the psychokinetic energy field is what's manipulating and causing the charges to do their thing. So we need to figure out the field in which the psychokinesis part works, right? Consciousness seems to live there. There seems to be a field of energy where consciousness does work on these physical systems. That would explain universal consciousness. That would explain a myriad of Eastern ideals when it comes to enlightenment, meditation, outer body experiences, astral projection, all those things.
Derek said, but wouldn't an ECG reading during stress show the brain function to correlate with the energy level?
We want to do that because, especially with psychics, but what we have to do, Derek, is we need, let's just say if there's an EMF spike during a paranormal event. If we can measure that, then we know there's something going on in the electromagnetic field that's anomalous. The hard part of trying to find physical evidence of psychokinetic energy is the key. And I'm not sure how to do that yet. Our problem is when we crash particles into each other in the Large Hadron Collider, in the particle accelerator, we're not seeing these energy fields. We're not seeing it. So that can be one of two things. One would be that it's so weak that our sensor can't pick it up because we have a hard time sensing gravity. When we crash them into it, we can't see the force carrier for gravity. So it could be like gravity. Or it exists at such a high energy level that we can't get there yet. It's one of those two things. Or there could be a third thing. Now, if there's forces that exist on other dimensions but bleed through to our own, which there are theories about gravity that do that, like M theory, which means that there's membranes, different planes of existence right next to ours, and something from that membrane bleeds through or touches ours and causes some kind of physical reaction there. And that could explain like dark energy and dark matter and stuff. If you don't know what dark matter is, they look at universes and how fast the universe is expanding, and they don't see anything physically there to make sense of why galaxies spin as fast as they do and not fly apart, and why the universe expands as fast as it does. So they call it dark energy and dark matter because they don't know what the fuck it is. So there you have it. You know, it's probably an energy field that's beyond our detection, but it's messing around with energy fields that we know about. So that might be why we're picking it up on the EMF meters. The brainwaves, it would be useful and valuable to the research, but it would not, prove that there's psychokinetic energy. Unfortunately. It's something we're working on. But, that's why none of this stuff is being taken seriously in the science field. That's why there's a problem. Scientists and skeptics say, hey, look, it violates the laws of physics. It can't be real. We haven't seen any of these particles or energy fields, in particle accelerators when we crash stuff together. It doesn't come out. So it must not be real. Well, I hate to break it to you, but it's just beyond our comprehension. And it's rare and spontaneous. Seemingly spontaneous. But if I can figure out the math to predict the things, that would be huge. That would be huge. But it always seems to happen when the environment is stressed, when the psychic part of our minds, or psyches, stress the environment. Now, I believe that there's other things that stress the environment too, and I'd like to talk about those things. If you dive into the research, tectonic plate movement is said to give rise to paranormal phenomena. That causes stresses in the field because there's a lot of stress there, obviously. Continental plates smashing in each other and causing friction will do that. That's just an example of other things that could be naturally occurring in the field that cause these things to occur. So that's kind of why, some paranormal investigators, they'll try to get seismic activity or seismic readings. Stuff like that. They're trying to find correlations between the two. Missy, do you ever find that you are more sensitive, or you pick up on more things certain times and sometimes you don't? Do you find like there's peaks and valleys in your psychic ability?
Yeah.
That's true, Derek. That's what I'm talking about.
The more stressed I am, sometimes the more stressed I am, the more I pick up.
Really?
Like the more frazzled I am, the more I pick up.
Like, give an example. Like, the more spirits you sense around you, or
the more I hear.
the more you hear voices.
Yeah. Because it's like, I guess it's because I'm already stressed out and I'm already in, for lack of a better term, sensory overload. And I can just, I hear more of the things around me.
Interesting. Holly says it's the opposite for her.
Derek said, I think individual people affect the environment more than others also.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Nothing is equal to this reality that I know of. So, Holly, I'll ask you the same question. Do you find anything that correlates with when you're more sensitive than not? Like your mood, the weather, anything? Because I'm curious about these things, because it doesn't seem like it's the same for everyone. So if it's not the same for everyone, why is it not the same?
If I'm cold, I don't pick up anything. Nothing.
I know. You don't even want to be there. You don't even want to be there. And I don't blame you. All you can do is focus on the cold. I feel like anything that's distracting is not good. And being cold, it definitely...
Oh, I would agree with the cold theory.
I know some people were trying to donate last night using here, I'll show you. Put it in the chat. So, this link right here, Streamlabs has changed their policy, so you cannot use your credit card to tip or donate unless you're verified. And I lost my verification because I didn't stream for a long time. The only way you can use this link is if you use PayPal. And I think Venmo. Let me see what the other get. But if I start getting donations through PayPal and I start having regular streams with regular viewers, they will decide if they want to verify me or not, which sucks a lot. But that's why I can't get donations through credit cards yet. So, donation settings, I have PayPal Plus, PayPal Lite. That's the only thing. So, if you have PayPal, that's the only way you can do it right now, and I'm sorry. But I did figure that out before.
Gosh, so we pick Missy up sometimes.
Yeah.
You have only picked me up once. Actually, you didn't pick me up. I picked myself up.
I feel that when I'm moody, I'm negative and only focus on negative things, if that makes sense. Then I feel very drained and only want to sleep when I'm negative. We got Gina. What's up, Gina?
We got Christy. Hi, Christy Brown.
Christy's watching the stream. She must be bored. She must have watched all of her episodes on all of her favorite shows. Don't judge me. Don't judge me.
Wade said Josh is flipping from Facebook to YouTube, and he said, "Don't judge me."
Mm-hmm. He wants to hang out with everyone. That's why I put the chat up on the screen so you can. So, I'm going to try to find this video, and I'm going to try to put it up on the screen here where it says, above us. So, it kind of give you guys a demonstration on... See if I can find it. Nah, let's just go to the history. It's a really cool thing here. So take that off, and for some reason you can't hear him. Stupid. Why can't you?
Now I know what you're thinking. He's secretly moving the table without telling us. No, I'm just kidding. It's all about the science.
You are the secret. By secretly rubbing a plastic straw against paper before we do this effect.
This action generates static electricity, causing electrons to jump from the paper to the plastic, which causes the straw to be negatively charged. As your hands approach the straw, the excess electrons on the straw repel some of the electrons on your skin, leaving an area of positively charged protons behind. Since opposites attract, this positively charged section of your skin will now attract the negatively charged straw, giving you the superpower to move the straw without even touching it.
Okay, so that's an example I was telling you. So if you can somehow manipulate the charges in the environment, things can have like almost like this remote force effect. But all it is charge. So if anybody's seen like a door open, something move across the table, a ball roll across the floor, a book fall off a bookshelf, this is something that could cause this to happen. Just charge. Okay? But what's causing things to become non-neutral? Okay, so what this guy did was he took electrons and added electrons from the wrapping of the straw onto the straw, because the straw is a plastic and it's an insulator. But it will take electrons off the paper that's wrapped around the straw. So his hands will act as an attractor because it has more electrons and he has more positively charged protons on his hands. So it creates an imbalance, so you'll get an attraction effect. Pretty cool stuff.
Gina said balloons, and then Holly said, would that be like rubbing a balloon on your hair and then
Yes.
sticking it to the wall?
That's exactly what's happening. So when you're seeing things move on their own, this could explain the mechanism. It could be charge. Now, big, huge, heavy objects moving on their own are rare. So that's why you typically don't see them, and that's why it's when you see big things move, it's probably not charged, because the amount of charge it would take to do that would be huge, and it just doesn't seem likely to me. That's why you see small things being manipulated more. But acoustic energy and voices seem to be mind-boggling when it comes to this. Even like manifesting light seems less probable, or seems more probable than voices to me. I'm still trying to figure out, the hardest part of my model would be understanding voice phenomena, because that's beyond my comprehension. I've thought about it for years, and I still do not understand how it's possible. The only thing I can think of is it's happening in this dimension over here, we're in this dimension over here, and sometimes our dimensions cross. So that's when you hear it. Now, you have things like voice recorders and ghost boxes, radios, essentially. That's kind of giving a medium for that stuff to happen. I get that. But how is it coming out of the thin air? Explain that to me.
But you've heard it with your own ears.
I know it happens, but how does it happen? How is that possible?
I don't know. Hi, TJ. How are you?
Chill.
How do you feel? How did you feel in the basement at Madison Cemetery?
I felt like a warlock. I felt like a witch out of a movie. That's exactly how I felt. It's what I look like on film too. Like a freaking weirdo, moving my hands around, talking to brick walls, and they talk back.
Holly said, well, think about how the telephone works. How can we hear them, the person on the other end?
There's a device that transmits the signal. It transforms one type of energy into another. And I love the question there, because it gets your brain working. So, electromagnetic induction, right? If you get a voice microphone that vocalists use on stage, for singing, they have this diaphragm that's attached to a magnet. Around that magnet is a copper coil. You move the magnet inside that copper coil, it'll induce a charge, and that'll send the signal through the wire into your amplifier. Okay, that's one way I think that spirits can manipulate the signal, because all they got to do is use electrons to induce, a signal without, breathing on the diaphragm. They just bypass the diaphragm. But how do they vibrate? Because our voices are nothing but compression waves of the air, the gas in our atmosphere. That's why we can hear things. Our throat vibrates the air, and those vibrations permeate through the air. So is this PK energy field vibrating the air like our voice does? It has to somehow. It has to. But how is it doing that? Like, the tensors involved in that would be mind-boggling. Let me show you guys what a tensor is. All right.
Derek said atmospheric manipulation, maybe.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
And then Holly said, back in our childhood days when we took the paper cups with strings.
So here's one visualization of a tensor. Okay, I'm gonna blow your brains up here real quick. So tensors do a really good job at explaining stress and elasticity mathematically. Okay, so if we have a 3D energy field, each one of those vectors has a you can measure them, but you have to measure them in 3D. And you have to take 3 different cross sections of it to get the let me see if I can get here's a tensor. So everyone's seen a matrix, but the tensor describes more than a matrix does. Okay, and this is the math that I got to come up with. This right here. See, if you look at this is tensor math. And if I can figure out the values of the stresses that happen in this 3D space that we're in and measure them in real time and find out that there are tensors can be applied to the psychokinetic energy field, bingo, I have it. Because I feel like the stress and elasticity of this field, the vibratory nature of this field can be measured using tensor math. Okay? That's where I'm at now. Where I'll be at in another 10 years, I have no idea. But this is the shit I'm dealing with, guys.
Alex said, what about the Hertz frequency?
That's a different form of, unit of measure. Okay? So you have stress energy tensor, sometimes called the stress energy momentum tensor, or the energy momentum tensor, is a tensor physical quantity that describes the density and flux of energy and momentum in space-time. Generalizing the stress tensor of Newtonian physics, it is an attribute of matter, radiation, and non-gravitational force fields. This density and flux of energy and momentum are the sources of the gravitational field in Einstein's field equations of general relativity, just as mass density is the source of such a field in Newtonian gravity. That's what a tensor is. And I feel like a little birdie told me, okay, that this is what I need to use to figure it out.
TJ said, I went on an investigation where the spirits said my name. I had asked if they knew me because I had been at the historic site, Family Farm, and the voice said, of course, TJ.
Does know you.
I have it recorded somewhere, she said.
Yep. There are things around us all the time we have no idea. And for some reason, we go to a place and we hear them. Or they were there the whole time and they just met you, but they know you. Maybe they heard someone call your name, and that's how they know you. But based on the response you gave, it seemed like they've known you for a while. They say, of course. Maybe they know things, maybe their perception is well beyond ours.
Gina said, God, I love this shit. Fascinating.
I'm glad you do, Gina, because I tell you what, not everybody would watch Ghost Adventures if this shit was on it. You know what I'm saying? They would tune out real fast. They'd be like, Tensors, fuck that. I don't want to do math. I want to see ghosts. I want to see orbs.
What if she said I go there a lot?
Mm-hmm.
So
that would explain
what
why.
if we walk into, say, Indiana State Sanatorium, and we are, asking questions, asking if anybody's there. So we are putting our vibration out there, the vibration of our voice out there. What if they're just throwing it back at us with a different word?
That's a theory I've heard before. They use already ambient acoustic energy and environment and modulate it. Okay.
Uh-huh.
That is plausible, but that's not what I think is going on. Let me run these ideas by you, Missy. When you're dead, do you have ears?
No.
Do you have a mouth?
No.
Is there air to move airwaves?
No.
You don't have a body at all that we know of. So if you think about it, it would make sense to say that you have no body. There's no physical form there, right?
Right.
So how do you hear? How do you hear someone talk to you?
I don't. How do we hear?
We vibrate the
It's a
air,
vibration.
and our ears, our physical ears, pick up the vibration in the gas, which is hydrogen and oxygen. Right. That's how we hear. There is no hydrogen, oxygen in ears, and
right.
You see what I'm saying?
But yeah, I get it. Polly said, "What if we leave our energy behind and it's us talking to ourselves?"
I believe that, but it's not all the time.
Derek said, "So if the theory that spirits move as fast at a fast speed, then maybe they're using supersonic or hypersonic waves to create sounds in the atmosphere."
Then we wouldn't hear them. If they vibrate them too fast, they have to vibrate them with the frequency that's within our range of hearing. So if they can do that, sure, we can hear it. But it doesn't, I don't think it has anything to do with how fast they can. Because if you're ultrasound or infrasound, you're not hearing it. Because
Gina said, "I do think at times they do, and some can too, Missy. But how and what?"
Okay, here's my theory. Okay, psychokinetic energy field. That, when you talk, you have to think about what you say. If you think about what you say, you're using your consciousness to do so. If your consciousness exists in the psychokinetic energy field and the consciousness exists outside of your body, you're vibrating an energy field before you speak. If you measure the time it takes to think about what you say and what you say, there's a delay. But if you hook up two different people, and this test has already been done, if you hook up two different people and measure the time that they think about what they say and the person hears what they say, they respond faster than what they can hear. They respond faster. Explain that. For example, if they think about, if they want to say hi, if I want to say hi to you, I think about it. Milliseconds go by and then I say it because I can't say it as fast as I think it. There's a delay, a very, very short delay. So the air gets vibrated as I say it. It goes across the room, it hits your ears, and that signal travels from your ears to your brain, and then you hear it. There is a delay, even more delay. There's a few more millisecond delay. The test shows that you can respond to what I say faster than your brain can process it and faster than it can traverse the air to your brain. How? There has to be an energy field that's vibrating that our brains can pick up on. That's faster than the physical world.
Holly said, "So what's the normal range of hearing for a normal human?"
20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. Now, older you get, the narrower that range gets because the tissue in your ears starts to degenerate.
PJ said, "I went to an investigation with a group who used headphones with their spirit box, and they blindfolded the person listening so that they could repeat what they heard while everyone asked questions. They used kids for this. To me, that's using the kids as mediums."
That's crazy. So here's go ahead.
Gina said, "Justin, yes, but do you think all?"
Yes. Think all what?
I don't know. I don't know what she was referring to.
Yeah, help me understand what you're referring to there. So what I'm saying, Missy, is when you go into a place, you're getting vibes, getting feelings in your psyche, in your being.
Mm-hmm.
You're not hearing it. You're not feeling it with your body, right? You're picking up on vibrations in an energy field that's outside the normal energy fields. So I believe when you are talking, like during an EVP session, they're not hearing the air and the environment vibrate and using ears to pick them up. The vibrations in the psychokinetic energy field are being vibrated, and that's how they hear you. So when they talk back to you, They're using the psychokinetic energy field, and you can hear that field. You're interpreting it as a voice. Okay? So what blows my mind is when it manifests physically, too. You see what I'm saying? You're hearing it, we're not. It's not being recorded. You're hearing it, we're not. It's not being recorded. And all of a sudden, it's being recorded and we hear it.
Right.
It physically manifests. How do they do that? That's what blows my mind.
Violate.
What's going on?
He said, "Hey guys, good to see y'all."
All entities, beings, etc. Communications are capable and do it in the same ways as each other. I believe, Gina, this is my model on this. I believe our consciousness exists on this PK field, energy field. And that's the first thing that vibrates. It's like you throw a stone into a still pond and you see the waves ripple. This energy field ripples. And our psychokinetic beings, our psychokinetic perception can hear and interpret the ripples in the energy field. And I believe that this is how, angels do their thing. This is how demons do their thing. This is how God talks to you. This is how spirits talk to you. This is how you can hear and communicate and have a vibrant perception in the afterlife when you don't have a body, when you don't have ears, when you don't have eyes to see. These fields are being vibrated, and that stimuli is producing the images through the psychokinetic energy field. That has to be the core of everything, because if it isn't, our eyes, our ears, our bodies are just extensions of this field in a 3D dimension. Did I cut out?
Drop, you cut out.
I'm sorry. What did you not hear?
Holly said, I don't know why you're cutting out. Holly said, okay, so think of the movie Lucy. What percentage of our brains need to be open to hear what we hear?
That's a myth. The myth that, or the saying that we only use 10% of our brains is not true. Here, let me see if I can bring it up. Let's see here. Give me a second. I'll open this up. Okay. Whoops. Doing wrong things here. Myth. We only use 10% of our brains. Suggested lesson plan. The notion seems firmly rooted in popular culture despite many efforts to debunk it. Hughes, Liddy, and Lamb, 2013. It was the basis of the movie Lucy, 2014, which depicted that supposedly would happen if a person actually used 100% of their brain power. It has been used to justify belief in pseudo-scientific psychic powers and is tactic? I don't know. Assumption in many self-help programs designed to unleash untapped human potential. Hughes, et al. 2013 found that this misconception, hereafter called the 10% myth, is one of the most prevalent misconceptions among the public. More concerning is the finding by Decker, 2012, that about 50% of primary and secondary teachers across different cultures also endorse the 10% myth. There are a plethora of articles and videos debunking this myth, both in popular media and from neuroscientists. What's more, neuroscientists now have tools for creating images and tracking the activity of living, functioning brains. The best known of these are PET, positron emission tomography, scans, and fMRI, functional magnetic resonance imaging. These techniques, which have come into common use in the last 25 years or so, have revolutionized our understanding of the brain function. Hi, Derek. How are you doing?
Fantastic.
So did you know that we only use 10% of our brain? It was a myth. Did you know that? Be honest.
No, I did not. Well, I knew that. I knew we only used a specific percentage of our brain, Because if we used 100% of our brain, we would be like superhuman and
No,
uncontrollable
that's
and all kinds of crazy.
that's untrue. So our brain, think about the car, the engine of your car. Okay, when you're driving down the road, does the powertrain, there's only certain parts of the engine that have to do with the powertrain.
Yeah.
There's only certain parts of the engine that have to do with running the electronic components in your car.
Mhm.
Your brain's the same way.
Ah,
You cannot
makes
use
sense.
all of the stuff in your engine compartment to move your car down your road. You don't use everything all at once. You use only certain
Right.
parts of it, and that's how the brain works.
Gotcha.
So when you're looking at brain imaging, if you show them a picture of an apple or whatever, only certain brain, pathways light up, not all of
Right.
them.
Exactly.
Doesn't make any sense. So,
Yeah, it's weird.
but the problem with this conception is it's taught in school and it's taught on TV and on the news.
Mhm.
It's
Oh, yeah.
it's echoed throughout time. And when I've done this research, that I do, I found this out. And I'm like, oh, good to know.
Mm-hmm. Holly DiMaggio said, "Do you know if they ever studied the brain waves like an MRI of a medium when they are actively interacting with a spirit?" Which is what we've discussed doing, but not with an MRI. You'd be better off using an ECG, which is a electrogram of your brain function. They use it during sleep studies and people that have cognitive disabilities,
Right.
brainwave issues.
Right. To answer your question, Holly, most definitely they have. It's not the data that they've gathered. I haven't been able to find to review it myself, but we would love to do it on our own if we could afford it. It would not only it would take some money to acquire one and purchase one. We would have to have training in order to do it right, and to deploy it during an investigation would almost be impossible.
It takes anywhere from 30 to 45 minutes just to apply the electrodes to your head, and then you have to turn the machine on. You have to actually put the person in a spot where they're still. They can't be moving around. It's got to be climate controlled because you can't sweat. If you sweat, the electrodes come off, and you got to find somebody to read it. I think, in my own opinion, on stuff like that, I think there have actually been studies done, and the documentation of it has been filed away for nobody to see because they don't want you to know.
There's a lot of stuff that is classified to the public that
Right.
people with all the money and know-how do.
Exactly.
But the MRI would show images of the part of the brain that is actively used. No, what the MRI does, basically, essentially what it does is it allows you to permeate the flesh and see cross-sections of it. So if you wanted to see a lesion in your brain, you would
MRI.
use an MRI because there's two different ways. You would see the contrast and density of the tissue, or you can just inject a person with high contrast fluid that would make the densities and lesions and anomalies stand out even more. But that's the main purpose of an MRI, so they can see inside you without being inside you.
Exactly. It's just and it's it's millions of sections. In say an inch of body tissue, they slice that into millions and millions of sections. To detect lesions, tumors, anything really. Anything. Strokes. It's widely used on strokes, tumors, people who have masses, fluid buildup, anything that they don't want to crack you open to see.
Right. It's non-intrusive. But see the EKG or what? No, it's not the EKG. It's
ECG.
ECG.
Yeah, the EEG and the ECG.
Okay. So let's look this up. Let's look this up. We'll do some learning here. So echocardiogram is the ECG, right? Echocardiogram. Okay. An electrocardiogram, ECG or EKG, records the electrical signal from the heart to check from different heart conditions So that seems like that's heart related. So an EEG is the test that detects abnormalities in your brain waves. So EEGs for the brain, ECG or EKGs for the heart. So you would use an EEG, right? And it, you know, measures the electrical impulses in the sections of the brain that are active at the time. So that's what you would want to use. John, about to get whacked by a big old storm. Really? I know you don't live in Hillsboro, but take a gander. Ooh, yeah, it is, dude. You're getting hit real good up there. You do not lie, sir. That's a substantial cell right there. Look at that. Ba-boom. Let us know exactly where you're at. I think you're somewhere near Cleveland. Is it like between? It's not Akron. Is it? Where the hell do you live again? Is it Akron? Right here. Let us know, buddy. Canton. Thank you.
Stay safe, John.
Canton. All right. Yep. Try to not get blown away or drenched. So
Denise and Goose are getting hit.
I bet. Yeah, everybody up north. Everybody up north is getting. I'm glad it's not me. I'm sorry. We're learning stuff today, Missy. We're learning, aren't we?
Yep.
So,
Yes.
Are you following me on the whole idea of how you hear ghosts and ghosts hear you?
Yeah.
They don't use their ears, do they? Why not?
Haven't.
They don't have them. You're right. You are correct. So how do they do it? It's a vibration
Vibration.
and an energy field. The psychokinetic. See, now you know. If you're on a show and someone asks you, how do ghosts hear you? They don't have ears. You can tell them. And you can tell them how you can hear them. Because you're a ghost with a body. So you can hear the ghost with your ghost and then tell another body with your body about it. Or if you're with me, you can you can tell me and I'll be like, oh, let me set up this recorder. And every once in a great while, I'll actually record or hear the ghost. We're calling it a ghost. I'm sorry. If it's something other than that, I'm sorry. I don't mean any disrespect. I'm feeling kind of goofy, but that's what I'm trying to get people to kind of look into things a little deeper. Just try to understand things on the level that I'm trying to understand and explain them. Because
yes, he drinks and he knows things. He drinks Grimace milkshakes. He knows things.
Yes. Grimace. It's okay. I'd rather have a chocolate shake or a strawberry shake, but it's okay.
Holly said yes, it's all through vibrations of energy.
Yes.
Ken
So
said I always felt vibration is huge in so many ways.
So what is vibrating? What is if someone asks you if you believe it's a vibration, if you believe it's energy, what kind of energy? Well, we haven't detected it yet, but it's psychokinetic energy. And it's a field of it. All things come from energy fields. Everything physical in our physical reality has a corresponding quantum energy field, like you've heard me say. So this goes the same with our psyches. There is a very fundamental core energy field that from which everything comes from, and it has to be the psychokinetic energy field. Right? So that is fundamental, and that is the vibrations that we are picking up, because not only are we physical bodies with physical senses, we are spiritual beings with spiritual senses that can perceive such vibrations and such energy fields. That
But
is the
as
idea.
we were talking about last night, what if you take one of those senses away?
Like if you took your sight away.
Yeah.
So those we're talking about triggers. how did Sam pick up things from the barn? Did she
Right.
see it and did it trigger something? Or is it just her proximity of her body to the barn?
Right.
Those are questions that are valuable to know about. If you eat Mexican beforehand, it is a methane field. Right. And it vibrates a lot. I can vibrate the methane field quite a bit.
Okay, so we hear 3 vibrations. How do we know what they are actually saying? Like one person may hear your name, but another might hear something else.
That's possible. So when it comes to consciousness, it is subjective. What I mean by that is you may hear tomato, they may hear tomato. But I don't believe it's like super chaotic, but things can be fuzzy, things can be muffled. Things cannot always be clear. With, like, for Missy, most of the time they're pretty clear.
Yeah.
And, you know, people who are clairaudient, they're very clear. For people like me, not so clear all the time. But I'm weird. I'm not like most psychics in quotation marks.
But I have actually, the last time we were at Indiana State Sanatorium, might have been the first time. Either way, I sat down in this chair and it was cold because it had been raining and I had a sweatshirt on. So, I put my hood up and I closed my eyes and I just sat there. And everything that I heard, I relayed to them. And Justin's like, okay, I think we need to get out of this area. Okay, fine. Let's go.
What happened? What did we do? Help me remember.
I think we walked off, but
Okay, like rewind a little bit. You said that you were, where were you at SSI?
we were in the middle there.
Lee Allen Bryant.
Wait,
Okay.
yeah, we were right there in that impasse, and there was a chair there, and I sat down, and I just remember putting my hood up and closing my eyes, and I was relaying everything that I was hearing to you, and you kept saying, it feels funny, but she's not talking straight. Because I guess what I was saying wasn't making any sense.
Maybe
And then a few
because you were
minutes later, we
interpreting
moved on.
maybe someone with dementia.
Maybe.
I can't stand there for very long in that spot. It's too overwhelming.
John Ward said it's not all that strange. Don't bats see through vibration? And don't dolphins communicate through a form of making noise, making vibrating noises?
it's physical acoustic energy. Okay? It's like sonar. It's very high frequency vibrations in physical mediums, which is the air. That's how they're communicating. It's not psychokinetic energy.
Holly asked, okay, another question. I know what I hear, but how do I get others to believe what I hear? Unless it's captured on a piece of equipment. People have a hard time believing others.
Missy can answer your question. Just think about what happened at Madison Seminary in the basement. What happened before we recorded and heard the voice? What happened?
I don't remember.
Okay, so we're down there, we're just chilling, and you are just picking up, what you can pick up, and you connect with a female.
Mm-hmm.
And she's asking where her baby is. And it's very repetitive. Where's my baby? Where's my baby? Where's my baby?
Yeah.
And you said it comes from this room, the room with the hole dug in it.
Yeah.
So I walk in there, and intuitively I walk into the center, and I start making a circular motion in the center of the room with my hands. And I felt like I wasn't purposefully doing it. I was intuitively doing it. I felt like I was raising the vibration and the energy by rotating it. and aligning it into a certain configuration. When I did that, I had a notion to go over to that corner bricked in area for reason I don't know. And I start knocking on it like to see if it's hollow, because I feel like there's something behind it. Something's telling me there's something behind it. So I ask whoever's there in spirit to answer, is there something behind this brick wall? Then what happened, Missy?
Yes. I said I hear yes.
A voice out of thin air was heard by both of us and recorded by 9 different devices.
Yep.
So from that experience, the only way I know to get people to hear these things is to somehow manipulate the psychokinetic energy field in such a way to allow it to manifest physically.
I'm going to answer your question in just a second, Holly. John said, isn't there a theory, though, that spirits speak at a particular frequency that our ears simply can't hear, though?
Yes, and it's wrong. And it's easy to debunk. And I'll tell you why. If the spirit speaks in infrasounds higher than 20,000 hertz, we can't hear it because our ears can only hear within a certain range. If they speak outside that range, we can't hear it physically. Now, there is a way to hear it on a voice recorder through digital aliasing, but there's a special circumstance to that, and that goes into a highly technical conversation. But essentially, if the sample rate of your recorder is 1 octave lower, for example, if the entity is speaking at 21,000 hertz and the sample rate of your recorder is 11,000 hertz, you can alias it, but it's going to sound weird. It's going to sound distorted, but you can hear it, but it has to be exactly 1 octave down. But we cannot hear it with our ears. And most recorders sample things in the range of human hearing because it's designed to record things that are spoken language and heard in that range. And the human hearing range, 20 to 20,000 hertz. So that debunks that theory. Like a dog whistle. If all ghosts use dog whistles to communicate with us, we're not hearing it, so we're not whistling back to them.
But you could feel the frequency.
It would vibrate your inner ear, but you wouldn't hear it, but your head might feel pressure and weird sensations.
Well, like the bark box here.
It makes the pressure in my inner ear change, and I'm sensitive to that, but I don't hear anything. I feel it. It feels weird in my head.
Yeah. Now, Holly asked, how do I get people to believe what I'm hearing?
Maybe if what you're hearing is information that you wouldn't normally know, or you couldn't know. That'd be convincing.
You know a little bit about me, Holly. I'm sitting here self-conscious as hell. Don't look at me, I don't want any attention paid to me. I just want to walk along and just, whatever. But that is the one thing that you have to give up. If it's relevant, okay, it's relevant, but other than that, you're hearing what you're hearing, we interpret things completely different,
Well, if we record something that Missy hears, that's validation for her. If what she hears we either get through research, or maybe there's some other device or other piece of equipment, or our own senses also pick up, you want to find correlations. It doesn't mean they are the cause of it, but correlations in what you hear and pick up to, what you find in research or what comes across a device is something to take a look at. So that's what you want to try to do. Go in blind. If you're trying to convince somebody, have them make sure that you go in blind with no prior knowledge of anything, of where you're at or the history or whatever, and pull out information that you wouldn't normally know or could know by hearing it or however you're perceiving it. And that would be how you would validate yourself if you are trying to validate yourself. I know Missy, it was a big deal for my mom to tell Missy that she was actually seeing.
Yeah.
Because
I
she
write down things in a notebook when I am on an investigation.
you know, when we were at the jail filming the documentary for Hartford City, she noticed Missy seeing things walk by, and she kind of looked over at my mom to say, give her the look like, you're seeing this? And she's like, yeah, you're seeing it. So, someone who you look up to, you believe has abilities is validating you. That's another thing. So, Holly, another thing I would suggest is you work with someone that you believe is gifted or does have psychic ability, and work with them, but do double blind stuff to make sure. Have them do theirs, you do theirs, you do yours, and you cross-reference them. Good. I'm glad that you do. I'm glad. Anything else here? Let me look at the title again.
Hello, Matt Benton.
We got Marines up in the chat now.
We do.
We got everyone now.
Yep.
Let's see.
Gang's all here.
Can't have everybody all at once. How are you doing, Matt?
Well, Derek is here, but he can't comment on anything because it won't let him. Now Facebook is like gave him a 24-hour ban on commenting on shows.
Really?
He can't do it.
Wow.
Told him to get on YouTube, but
Yeah, get on YouTube, man. You gotta freaking love Facebook, man.
right.
You gotta love it. They give you a share button, but they smack your hand if you use it. It's all because of the abusers, the people who abuse the stuff. Matt Ben is famous.
He didn't make any comment that I know of. He just shared the show apparently too many times for Facebook's liking.
He shared, if you share something like 20 or 30 times all in a short span of time, you can get a timeout.
Matt said, I'm good. I'm almost finished with the Goldfield High School episode. It is releasing this Saturday.
I've been seeing the posts. Pretty exciting. Got some more stuff coming out. It's always a relief to get that content out there.
It is stupid, Holly.
Everyone tell Derek that he is awesome, that you love him, and he's cooler than Facebook. Make him feel good, because he is good. Uh-oh. Was Wolf Haunts lurking in the shadows until her stud Marine came out of the shadows? I hope that's true. Maybe they probably just joined at the same time to troll me. Let's see who trolls me the best. Give me your all. Troll me. Oh, I got to tell you a story. When me and Christy got home from work, right? She's been getting these calls from a blocked caller ID caller. So the first time he called, the man's voice on the other end was trying to get my wife to suck his you-know-what. And I'm like, no way. And she's like, he's calling again. And I answer, and I'm like, hello. He's like, is your wife there? Put your wife on. I'm like, she's standing right next to me. What's going on? And he's like, I want her to suck this. I did her last night, so on and so forth. So me. I start, trolling him and, making a joke of it. And I'm just like, who is calling my wife and doing this? Like, we're like old people that work all the time and don't do anything. Who the hell is calling us and pranking us? Okay, let's see what's going on here. I am not famous. Hi, Josh. Yes, it is. Hi, babe. Haha. He told me you're live. You see, I'm going to tell you this right now. You don't have to do everything he says. You don't have to watch. You could just private message him and not have to deal with me and Missy on YouTube. But we're glad to have you.
He talked to April tonight from the pizza place downtown. She says, "You just let me know when you guys are
I'm not worried
ready
about
to
that
invest."
place.
She
She's
says,
like,
"You just let me know."
yeah, I'm not worried about that. I want the mansion.
The board meeting is Monday.
They already had a meeting before, didn't they?
I thought they did, but they didn't. Apparently they didn't. So the board meeting is Monday.
So what you need to do, where's the board meeting held?
Go Forest.
In the mansion.
Mhm.
So you and Casey and Derek, if he has time, need to go out there with a big sign and say, Hill Forest Mansion has a voice. History is alive. Let us be the medium in which the history speaks. Get us in there, Missy.
Wolf Hunts Paranormal said, "Hey, I want to be here."
Okay, all right. See, she doesn't take orders from no Marie. She's here on her own. All right.
Karma Wild said, "Late, but here. Hi."
Hi, Karma. We're talking about a subject matter that involves psychokinetic energy and why skeptics and scientists say that it violates physics, like the transverse square law, second law of thermodynamics, so on and so forth. And we pretty much need a new model. And you're going to have to watch the replay because I went through a lot. But if you have any questions about it, let me know. But we do a lot of psychical research because Interface Death believes that pretty much all paranormal phenomena stems from an energy field that's called the psychokinetic energy field. And for ghosts and spirits to exist, our consciousness has to exist outside of our body and not be an emergent phenomena within our brains. And it's a term called dualism. So if that's true, our consciousness basically has to be a vibratory entity within the psychokinetic energy field.
You go, girl.
I tell him what to do. Oh, I bet that is true. I bet that's just like, lick at the bottom of my foot, bitch. And he does it.
Well, like you've said to me before, that it was a PK manifestation. But how is that possible?
What kind of manifestation talking
PK manifestation.
about? Okay, for the sake of this conversation, what kind of manifestation? Like inside your house, like the voices.
Like you said that the woman in the bedroom, watching him sleep, you said she was a PK manifestation of my anger.
Okay, so everything that happens in the environment is physically stored in the quantum sense. Okay, so everything gets entangled in the environment. Everything we do, everything we say, all the information gets imprinted in the environment. So psychics can extract and perceive that information and can reconstruct it. Okay, so it's like an AI / holodeck. So the AI part of it, you can reconstruct the information of the people that used to live there and infuse them with artificial intelligence. And they become alive, essentially. So now you're perceiving them as ghosts and spirits. They're haunting the house. And now they're doing things against, that is bothering you, that's haunting you. Okay, that's a psychokinetic manifestation that's caused by your ability to extract the information of their lives in the house and imbue them with intelligence as if they were alive.
Gotcha. Holly said, "You said I made my telephone at work move on the receiver."
Yes.
Matt said, "Happy wife, happy life" is the saying. Yeah, LOL. And then he said, "Even though she's not my wife." Yeah.
Oh, you want to put a ring? I want to see Bat Cat Baby. I'm in it. I'm in it for the long haul. cat bat baby is what I'm invested in. So if you guys can make that happen, that'd be great. If you didn't know, Matt likes Batman a lot, and you know, Wolf Haunts Paranormal is a cat lady, so that's how I get that. As soon as I seen her, I was like, "Oh, she likes cats." It's all over. It's written all over her energy. It was clear as day to me, which is not a bad thing. I have like 500 cats outside. They won't stop. They're like gremlins out there multiplying.
And then you step in chicken shit.
That's not my fault. That's my sister-in-law's fault. They roam around the farm.
Joke.
Yeah, so Holly, what's weird is I'll go to these places. My most vivid memory of someone reporting that type of stuff to me is they were at the bar, in a bar, and they're smoking a cigarette, and there's an ashtray sitting right down there where it would be, and they went to go ash in the cigarette ashtray that was a little bit further away than it needed to be. And what she reported to me was the ashtray slid towards her at the moment she wanted to ash in it. And those types of things are so crazy to me. But that is a phenomenon in the psychokinetic energy field that I'm talking about. We can theoretically cause the polarization and charges in both of those objects to change so they attract, like I was explaining before. I'm in here now, they don't block me.
Wolfhard said cat ears on Matt is my new favorite thing. And Matt said, "LOL, no."
Pixar, it didn't happen.
And she said, "My fluffy cat boy."
Okay. Justin Brown on Facebook. You'll see my fat bearded face on there. Send me a friend request. I will accept, and then send me a photo, and Justin's happy. I'm not going to post it. I'm not going to use it. I just want it. And I need it for my own.
It'll be a blip in our next documentary.
Yeah, I'll insert the photo one frame somewhere in the middle. People will be like, "What the hell was that?" I don't know. Be like, "What was that Fight Club where you put the one frame of porn
I think
the movie?"
so.
So funny.
She said yes.
All right. I have Messenger open. Have it open. Reminds me of a magnet. It is a magnet. That's how it works. It's all electromagnetism. Science, baby. Science. I can't believe I got to get up 4 o'clock in the morning. Doesn't that suck?
Then we have to get up next week. Or are you leaving Thursday night?
Wednesday, after I get off work, I got to go directly to freaking Chattanooga, Tennessee. Check into the hotel late, wake up early, play softball all the way till Sunday, from Thursday to Sunday, come home Sunday night, and then sleep all day Monday.
Wow. He said I had to wear cat headphones once because I lost my headphones. So I borrowed my brother's fiance's headphones that has cat ears in it. I had no choice. LOL. I wanted to continue editing.
No, you liked it, Matt. You didn't. The choice was you like it and you couldn't resist it. Why can't you wake up at 7, Becky? I wake up at freaking 5 and 6 o'clock. It sucks.
I had 3 patients in adjoining rooms say within a few minutes of each other that there was a woman in a white dress or a sheet with a blurry face walking through their walls.
That's completely normal.
Happens all the time.
Happens all the time.
She said, "I'm old and tired."
I feel you. I feel your comment. It's a real thing. I've been taking vitamin B complex. I don't know if it's helping.
You're here, aren't you?
Yeah. I don't feel too tired. I feel okay right now. Usually I would be like, "Oh my God, please kill me," but I'm okay. Shouldn't be complaining. I hate waking up at 2 p.m. or 2 a.m. Oh yeah, dude. No, I'm not trying to compare my early life with yours, dude. You chose hell. You chose this.
Yep.
Yeah. You're getting trained. Normal here. Everything's normal. Perfectly normal. I just wish the stuff that happened to me in my early 20s would just happen every day so I could study it better. But that's not how it works. It's not how it works. My dad used to do that on Saturdays and wake me and my brother up before he left. Nice. That's what I have to do, Christy. She's been doing closing shifts, and she has to come home at like 1, and she can't fall asleep till 2 or 3, and then she'll take me to work, and I have to wake her up at 6 and have her take me at 6:30. I can just see how tired and over it she is. I'm like, it's gotta suck.
Well, he gets home at 11. Well, 10 to 11. He usually doesn't. I usually don't get in bed until quarter after. So it's like midnight before I go to sleep. And then he wakes me up at 6 to take him to work. So
Yep. Yep.
and then you know my sleep patterns, they're shoddy at best. So
Yeah. Derek gets home at 10 till 11. Sometimes a little later. You may stay up for a little while. You may go ahead, then you got to get back up early, like 6 o'clock-ish to get Casey to work. And yeah, sounds like Christy's situation right now.
then you don't come home and try to go back to bed.
Is it hard?
This morning I tried to go back to sleep. I laid on the couch. I thought I'll just lay on the couch. So Penelope will be fine. She'll sleep with me.
She gave your nipples a bath all morning long.
No, she did not. She heard a noise and stood on the blanket, basically petting the blanket to me.
What's up,
And then
Phillip?
she farted in my face.
Hey. Come on now.
Hi, Philip. How are you?
This show is supposed to be educational and serious and cool, and now we get to listen to your stories about dog farts in your face. Thanks. Becky.
I could manifest my way out of it.
Oh my God. Help me. Help. See, I get about an hour and a half in, and then I'm like, I run out of gas. It's like, I can't stop. Like, I can't say any more about the topic. It really sucks. It's like always like an hour and a half in.
So what did I miss?
Dude, you
Philip
missed
said?
everything. I've run out of gas. Like, I've done science the hell out of the stream. You're going to have to watch the replay if you want to see everything I said about it. Everything. Now we're talking about dog farts and bat cat babies. That's what you get to hear about now.
Dog touch oven. Yeah.
Everyone type
Horrible.
1 in the chat if you want to see Matt Benton with cat ears on. Because if you do, Wolf Haunts Paranormal is supposed to send me a photo and we get to see. You're right, Arden. It was.
Yes, it was.
Arden, you should have seen it backstage. 1. Haha, Darren's like 1. 1. Get that pic ready to send. Get that pic ready to send. And a tail. Yeah. Instead of talking about paranormal stuff, we'll just look at people with cat ears. Matt, you can make it easier on the stream and send it to me yourself. How about that?
Josh Bender, you still have his helmet, right? Do you have his helmet, or does he have it? He needs to
Oh, she
3D
sent it?
print. He needs to 3D cat print or 3D print cat ears and glue them to the top of it.
Oh, he would be so pissed off. Let's see if you sent me a friend request. Yes, you did. Over here. Message. Yes, buddy. Look at him. Would you just look at him? I hate this. It won't let me make it bigger. That's going to have to be good enough for you guys. Yep. That's what his baby's going to look like. Right there. That's what the baby's going to Nice. So what did Matt say? It was whose headphones that he borrowed?
His brother's girlfriend.
Oh. You should have a meeting about the choice in those headphones, huh? Those are very popular. Meow.
Oh.
Matt got it after I violated it. Oh God. Can I ask a question? Yes, you can. Yeah, but
you can always ask.
You have to stare it into Matt's eyes when you ask the question.
They're his. He's just too ashamed to admit it.
He clicked the wrong button on Amazon, so he's like, "Damn it, I'm not wasting this $20." Ask away, Karma. We don't have. I've ran out of stuff to talk about. I've talked about the topic for an hour and a half. No, they are not. I don't know. Let's ask the chat what they believe. Type 1 if you believe that Matt borrowed his brother's girlfriend's headphones, or type 2 if you believe that they're Matt's headphones and he's secretly, into it. He's a weeb.
If he dumps you, you come find us. We'll hunt him down. And
he's definitely not going to dump you. The chat has spoken. Yep. The chat has spoken. Oh shit! That's what you get for coming on this live stream. 2 times 2. Oh shit! You need to order some type of themed headphones that counteract this, because now it's going to spread like wildfire on the internet. Like Matt Bitten loves cats a little too much. Here's the evidence. What do you say? He's a little furry boy. Yes, he is. Look at him. Oh God, here comes the comment here. Do you want me to read this, or do you want to?
Matt Biggins' cat daddy. I'll read it. It's fine. She said, "Okay, so I have a rock that is made of concrete. It's supposed to be the top portion of a Chinese pagoda. I was given access to this because it is part of a missing persons case that I am working on. I noticed that this chunk of concrete was giving me a massive headache, so I was given permission to take it home to experiment on it. And this concrete, when I apply my AC/DC needed to it, runs a direct current from 0 up to over 300 cycles back down to 0, and then back up to over 300. What are your thoughts on this? I'm not at liberty to give you all the details, that I can tell you that it is part of a murder investigation and it involves a satanic cult."
Of course it does. So what is her question? Okay, so I have a rock that is made of concrete. It's supposed to be the top portion of a Chinese pagoda. I gotta Google this so I know what that is.
A Chinese pagoda? You don't know what that is?
Not off the top of my head. I'm sorry, I don't know everything. Okay, so it's like a Chinese cupola.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was given okay. So Congress is supposed to be the top of. Okay, I was given access to it because it was part of a mission. Okay. What are your thoughts? Okay, my thoughts on applying a current to it? Is that what you're asking me? If you should do that, or is there any reason you should do that? Help me be a little bit clear on what you're asking me. And then I want to be very well equipped to answer your question.
No, it emits a current in a cyclic fashion.
Okay. Huh. So okay. So I've heard about this. So I want to make sure if I'm remembering it right. That's not what I'm looking for. Just give me 1 second. So she said she had it on what type of equipment again?
An AC/DC. She said,
I don't know what
yeah.
she means by that. Is a raw or surface may act like a natural. No. So there could be material in the rock that has a very low resistance. But as far as it having a current, I've never heard of rocks having a current. I wouldn't know what to say unless I tested it myself. I have, like, if you can show me the video or like a very long description of how you tested it with the exact equipment, because I really don't know what you mean by AC/DC. I have posted several videos about it and working on with it with the police on this case.
Derek said like a voltmeter. The AC/DC is like a voltmeter.
Okay.
And Jaina asked, could there be quartz or some mineral in the concrete?
There could be. Now, quartz, if you strike it hard enough, there can be a dielectric effect. And that's how quartz watches work. But you have to subject it to power. You have to put a battery to it. But if you strike it with a hammer, it does create current. But you have to introduce energy into the system for it to do that. Yeah, there's lots of metals and rocks. But concrete depends on what they put in the concrete.
Could be a limestone.
Cement, like flour, is an ingredient to make concrete. A mixture of Portland cement, 10 to 15%, and water, 15 to 20%, make it paste. The paste is then mixed with aggregates, 65 to 75%, such as sand or gravel or crushed stone. And as the cement and water mix, they harden and bind the aggregates into an impenetrable rock-like mass. So...
She said this concrete soda has been stored in a holding cell for over a year. It should have no current.
It shouldn't have any current. It should not. Like there's no rock that I know of that generates an electrical current. And a quick Google search, I couldn't see that it was a natural phenomenon. So my thought would be there shouldn't be any current in the rock, and I would scrutinize the way that you're measuring the current. Not because I think you're doing it wrong, but just because you would want other people to confirm that that's what's happening. So what I would suggest you do is take it to somebody that you trust, that whatever, to get the same measurements that you are. That's a third party to validate that it is actually pulsing with a current.
Karma said, I am wondering if somehow this was infused something paranormal. Holly said water is a current, so could that still be stored in within the concrete?
Not an electrical current, no.
I've had it examined by an electrician, and electrician and an electrical engineer both confirmed there is a current.
Okay, so I'm skeptical of it. I would want to confirm that. That's what I would say about it. Basically what I'm saying is it should not have one, and I would want to test it myself. Justin, you should change your YouTube channel handle to Interface Death before someone takes it. It is new to YouTube. At Interface Death. Oh, I have seen that. I have to take a look. Dude, I am so busy all the time. You're lucky you see me on here right now. Yeah, you can send it to me. Just message me on Facebook. I'll give you my address, and by all means, you can ship it to me.
Your wife apparently doesn't know what you're doing.
Hmm?
Your wife apparently doesn't know what you're doing.
Me?
She's sending me messages.
Christy is sending you messages?
Yeah, she's sending me reels.
She knows I'm live.
Karma? Just send him a photo.
I can't test the current with a photo.
No. I would just need a photo.
Oh. I know I've touched something before that has a similar claim to it.
Okay. She's
Yeah, but I mean, if you want to send it to me, I will definitely check it out. So we have 6 minutes left. Anybody have any exotic paranormal concrete for me to test? Because I'm in. I am
I
in.
have about 20 bricks at my house from haunted locations.
I only have a few. Josh and Derek have quite a few. Nice, dude. Sounds like it's almost done. 3 hours is not a very long time at all. Not at all. Dead air, dead air, dead air.
Dead air.
I don't like it. Anybody else have any questions? Anybody else have any comments? Any thoughts concerning the topic or otherwise? Now's the time. Missy, have you enjoyed the topic?
Yeah.
Did you learn something? Great. I'm happy about that. I want you to learn how to use your computer, though. That would be awesome.
Yeah, it would. It's his computer, not mine, so. Did you send it to me or him, Karma?
Yeah, we can't say any bad words now because apparently Matt's YouTube members are listening to us right now.
You have my break for editing. LOL.
Everybody come over to Interface Death right now. Subscribe, hit the bell button. You'll get to see Matt and Cat Ears. Oh, I guess you get to see him live that way, so that wouldn't be a reason to come subscribe, would it? You're welcome, Gina. I don't know if you came in and watched it all, but if you did, that's awesome. If not, there was a lot of important and cool stuff I talked about that you might want to go check out if you didn't.
Ken said, good evening and good vibrations, my friends.
Now I get to see Marky Mark without a shirt on in my head. Thank you, Ken. Thank you very much. Nice to see you all. I'm off to bed, heading to FCI tomorrow morning to help Adam with convention stuff.
Safe travels, Darren.
Yep.
Behave.
Be safe. I have to rewatch the beginning. Okay. Let me know what you think, man. Gina, me and Gina we're on wavelength. We're like-minded people. I know this. We're going to wrap it up, guys. Thank you very much for joining. It's always very, very appreciative that, the same peeps come on and listen to me ramble on about weird stuff for 2 hours, it is very cool, and I do appreciate it. Like I said, if you're interested in donating through Streamlabs, the only way you can do it is through PayPal, and I'll link it again. By all means, you do not have to do this, but if you want to be able to use your credit card like you used to, I have to get verified on Streamlabs first, and the only way to do that is to use the stupid PayPal. But it's not a huge deal. Thanks, Philip. Thank you very much for coming in.
Oh, I said happy Father's Day to all the fathers.
Yep, happy Father's Day. I get to sit there and watch my daughter play softball again. Yep, we are. I knew it.
Daddy's work is never done.
That's hilarious. All right, folks. You have a good evening. Wish me luck on my journeys to Ashland, Ohio to watch my daughter play another softball tournament. It's going to be fun. Take care, Wolf Haunts Paranormal. Thank you very much for sending me the picture of Matt with cat ears. Thank you very much. You guys have a good night. See you next time.